For me, I agree with a lot of what you said, but I think decolonization is, for me, not an interesting concept when you talk about it as bringing something back to something before colonization. I think that is a fallacy. I think it's not, we're not able to do that. And I also think that when we talk about colonization and just saying that we're colonizing one country and we're doing this and that, I think it's very important to talk about the capitalistic neoliberalist structure that is behind that. And for me, talking about decolonization is a way of battling that system as it occurs in all different kinds of fields. So also the way that the female body, for example, is actually being colonized by the capitalist society to, you know, reproduce, act a certain way, be visible a certain way, look a certain way. That is also a form of colonization for me, and we can decolonize that. So a lot of things I do agree with, but I think we should go a little bit further in the sense that we're talking about not only the physical, you know, taking over a country, but also the taking over of bodies, of minds, of systems of thinking. Now, and I'm not going to say that we can return to a time where there was not a capitalist system, or because, you know, feudalism is also not a very good system to live in. And, you know, you have this quote of Churchill says that democracy is the best of all worst systems, and I think that's something to be said when you're talking about capitalism as well. But I think decolonization can help us deconstruct these aspects when they are imposed on the body of another or the space of another. And one basic thing which is inherent in the capitalistic system is that you always have to externalize the expense of your system to somewhere else. Whether that be the people in your community that are of a different color or are of a different gender or are of a different religion, or whether that be people in other countries who are not visible to you and using their, you know, like grondstoffen, etc. So I think, and that the process of externalizing that cost is a process of colonization. The process of even our history, you talked about our history education. When we are not educating people about the colonial history in Belgium, what we're actually doing is externalizing the historic cost and the cost of remembrance to people who are actually not supposed to do that work, to the victims of that oppression. So like all of us who are sitting here at this table, we have all done a lot of work to get up on tables, write pieces, make discussions happen around, you know, like the things that are happening, the racism and the colonization of the public space. But actually, what the interesting thing is that the fact that we should not be doing this work, the work should be done by other people, and the fact that we are having to do it is a form of externalizing the internal cost, and it's still a form of colonization.
I don't understand.
I like this point, really.
You make my day.
You made my day.
The fact that
I didn't understand.
the fact that we are the ones as victims who have to be doing this work is also a sign of colonialism, because it is not up to us. And as you said that we could have been doing other things, and we should have been doing other things, but instead we're
it
doing
falls
this.
to us to do this work,
Absolutely.
and it should be the state and the educational system that should be doing this work.
I agree.
So that to me is just a little bit more extrapolation of what decolonization means to me.